Okay, the next thing that's going to happen is that I'm going to put the front brakes and spindles, wheels and everything back on. The first time I did this, I just put it together dry with the idea that I'd be taking it apart again. When I put it back together this time, I'm going to go ahead and grease the bearings and put the seals in the back of the hubs and do all of that stuff that I didn't do before, because when it goes together this time, it's not coming back apart unless I've done something wrong or something breaks or there's a problem. And what I'm going to do now is just, we talked about this a little bit earlier, I need to fill this thing full of grease. This is a bearing, it's dry, it needs to be packed with grease. I don't know if there's a better way of doing this. The way my dad taught me to do it was just put it right in the palm of your hand and just shove it right in there. What you're doing is you're shoving it up underneath the back of that seal thing there, so that you're just pushing the grease up inside where the bearings are. It's not very pretty. It feels a little bit ooky, but you know, I've had my hands in worse things. I'm going to do both of these. In fact, I might grab the ones from the other side and do them too. That way I don't have to get my hands all greasy again when I go back over there for that side. If you notice when you turn that now, it's nice and smooth, whereas before it was all, you could hear the bearings rubbing on metal there. Okay, we'll take a look at how this goes together. This is the drum. It has the thing in here called a race, which is one of these. It's tapered so that it fits right on the bearing. I don't know why this one came with an extra set of races, but it did. Anyway, the bearing, once it's nice and greased up, slips right down into there. And then you've got a little sill on the back, which is supposed to catch the grease and keep it from flying out of there. This one also has this little gizmo, which I don't really recognize, but it fits right in there, so I guess that's supposed to be in there to keep that bearing from having any opportunity to fly around. And you know, basically all you do with this is just very gently tap it in there. I'm just getting this sill in here right. When I get through, it's going to be flush there. Pretty sweet work, huh? Gotta love it. I love good machinery. Okay, let's put the wheel on. Pretty as a picture. The other bearing goes right here. Small one. It goes right into there. There's another little race inside there, and that turns on that. On the outside of here is a washer with a groove in it. Well, there's no groove in it, okay? It's still a washer. Goes right here, and then this bolt goes here. There's a hole through here so that you can get a pin in this when you're done. And you just snug this up. You don't turn this real tight, but you want it to be kind of snug, and I might snug this a bit more than I normally would, just because what I'm doing it all at the same time is pushing that. Normally what you do with these is you just take a big old pair of pliers like this and you give them a little snugging. And you really don't want it to be too tight. And after that's on there, I guess I'll go ahead and get a pin and put in here, and then we'll put the cap on it. So let me find me a pin. Now, I have to say this, my dad was a wonderful man. He, after he passed away and I was cleaning out his shop, I found things like this, just a whole box of pins, one for every occasion. I mean, that's pretty doggone handy, you know what I mean, to have something like that. And you see how that worked? We just slid that right through there, and we'll just grab the end of it here, and we'll give it a little turn, and that just keeps this thing from turning. Now this thing is actually made, I might try a bigger pin in there. This thing is actually made so that you can, you want to be able to pull the pin out, tighten this a little bit if you need to as it wears. So, what you do is there's two sides here. One side is longer than the other one. You get that pin in there nice and tight, and you pull one up, pull one down, and then when you get ready to change this again, it won't be that hard to just kind of take a little screwdriver or something and straighten that out. And you want that to be so that this will fit over it, and you can tap that into place like that. Something like that. If you want to get real fancy, you take a screwdriver and put it right here and give it one of these. It's probably a good thing to do because, if it does get hot and the grease starts to move around, it won't fly out of there. It'll all stay contained inside of there. This is good. This isn't like a necessary part, but it's better to have it than not to. Keeps the dust out of there too. Okay, there's that. Being the kind of fabulous mechanic that I am, I forgot one little part, and that would be the brakes. So I'll go back and take this off and do it right. Okay, I'm going to put the brakes on. I've got 3 of these self-locking bolts. There's 3 holes in here that match up with these 3 holes in here. I know how it goes because I had to trim the back of this for the shoe to fit way back when. It goes through like this so that the flat side is on this side and the bolt is sticking out on the back side. You wouldn't want the bolt sticking out on the front side or it would be hitting the back of that disc there. And basically what I'm going to do is just stick all 3 of these in here and start them. Take my air wrench and snug them down good. Then we'll hang the disc right on top of that. Let's see, here's my wrench. And I got a wrench for the back side. Gotta love air wrenches. Lord bless the man that invented them. Okay, now that I got that part on, I'm going to go ahead and put my spindle back on again. You've already seen me do this once, so I won't film it again. And with my spindle in place, I'm ready to put the caliper on. I have my 2, I want to say shoes, but they don't call these shoes anymore. They call them pads. I have my 2 pads here. This goes on in such a way that this bleeder valve is facing up, and there's a hole and a hole here, and this goes on with this kind of bolt right here. So it's gonna go with a disc on each side of the pad like that, and then this bolt is going to go through the back side like this. Yep. Yep, like that. And it is going to line up and come through the front hole, and this is threaded. If you notice, this rod is threaded back here, so the actual threads are back on this end. And I've got a little tool here I use to turn that once it starts in. And the back brake pad sits on top of that rod. Once I get that one started, I'll do the bottom one. Same drill down here. And that's all there is to it. I'll move the camera around to the other side so you can see what I'm doing over here. See, I've got one of these on the top One of these on the top, one of these on the bottom, and I'll take my little tool here and get the thread started. Just tighten those up. These are Chevrolet discs, by the way, 69 Camaro style disc. Pretty basic. They make a lot more fancier stuff nowadays, but this is pretty good for an old car. Works fine for me. The idea of using the 69 Camaro parts on my old rat rod seems pretty modern to me. Okay, the next thing I did was went ahead and put my adapter on here. This adapter is so that it'll fit those old Ford type wheels. This drum is a Chevy drum with a Chevy wheel pattern. This adapts it to the old Ford wide 5 bolt pattern, which is the same as on any old Ford truck or 32 Ford, 40 Ford, or anything like that. I use a smaller socket here because the bigger one, the big air handle socket, wouldn't fit down in there. A lot of people don't do these with an air gun because you can warp your disc doing it. But my gun don't have enough pressure for me to worry much about that. And you know, I can go ahead and put the tire back on this side now and go to the other side. Well, here she is on her own wheels, and don't she look fine? Yes, makes me happy to see this. Because, like I have said before, when it's all in pieces, it's a lot harder to imagine the way it's supposed to look. Plus, it's a lot more mobile.